Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead. Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Tying run at second, 2 out. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it and to the middle with the 15 to the 20, breaks free to the 25 to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 in the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh! Touchdown!
Slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it toward Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this Hump Day edition. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Listen, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. But wait, there's more. Do us a favor. Go to the show's page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Go to that Facebook page. Like that page as well. So in addition to Shawn and Maya, to Sports Zone Chicago, you'll also be liking Shawn and Maya as well. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, listen, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button. Okay, click the subscribe button and also click the notification button. That's the little bell right next to it. Click on that, and that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. You get it? Got it? Good. If you're watching us on our mobile or listening to us on our mobile app, I like that kind of, I know that's for the next one. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Listen, you can take us with you on the go. Okay, so download the app. And it doesn't matter where you get your apps from, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, Macy, Montgomery Ward, Woolworth, Venture, wherever you get them from. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. So not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you get our other live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there like they are on Facebook and YouTube, but I'll tell you what, we give you a slew. And I mean a slew of articles. Thanks to my man Clarence Council III. Big up to Clarence for keeping your abreast of all articles Chicago sports related. And if you're watching this on our Roku channel, now I like that kind of party, baby. Yeah, listen. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. We have our own Roku channel, Sports Zone Chicago. We have our own Roku channel. So if you have a Roku television in the house, do us a favor. Do us a solid, would you? Download Sports Zone Chicago's tile right to your television. Put it right next to Netflix, Hulu, Apple Plus, Prime, Max, Disney Plus, Stars, Showtime. Put it right next to all of them. And you can watch us on the big screen. Hell, we're live on the big screen, right? Mickey Ficky now. All right, so please do us that favor. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy, the CHI, at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, ay, Dios mío. Personally, I'm online. You want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Well, here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you want to follow her on Instagram because you're an IGer, then do it. And because you do it just for the gram, we'll follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, we have a phenomenal show, but I need you to get interactive with us today. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or our mobile app, leave a question or comment there. It'll come up on the thread. And guess what? We'll put it up on the screen. We'll talk about it. We'll incorporate it into the show. And that's what makes this the best morning show around. The best Chicago sports talk morning show around is you. So bring them, baby. Bring your questions, comments, smart ass remarks. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Because like The Rock, because first of all, ain't nobody scared over here. Okay. And like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Bring them all, baby. We're excited because I have a phenomenal show. But let's see what's going on in the chat. Chat's jumping already. That's what I'm talking about. Michonne Walls in the Mickey Ficky house. What's up, Michonne? Brian in the Mickey Ficky house. First time I show up on time. The SuperBack. No show. What? You know, you got to be fashionably late sometimes just to tingle. I got to dangle it in front of you. Like, oh, get you wanting more. Like, come on. My man, Armando Emeterio, Lara, Junior. That's my guy, Junior. He's in the house. Good morning, big dog. I love you, brother. That's all. That's my dude right there. Love him. And there he is. He's a little late today. Cornelia Squall's in the Mickey Ficky house. How you doing? That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yay. Monica, what up? Good morning, mommy. How are you? I hope you are doing well. And, I was just about to say, Jeremiah. Jeremiah is watching. That's awesome. Jeremiah, good morning, mijo. Also want to say good morning to Armando Emeterio, Lado the Fourth, Dito, Jojo, whatever you want to call him. He can't watch because he's in school. He'll probably learn more here than he does there. I'm just kidding. I was a former teacher. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Dito, Jeremiah, good morning. As always, glad you're watching. What else? Oh, he's 10 months old today. Happy 10-month anniversary to Jeremiah. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yeah. Dude, that's crazy. Time flies, huh? Holy shnikes is all I have to say. Holy shnikes. That's it. That's all I got to say. Holy shnikes. Time flies, man. I remember holding him when he was a couple weeks old. Couple weeks old. That's nuts though. Woo! Whose birthday is it? You said it's Levette's birthday? Did I read that, or what am I talking about? Oh, shut up, Levette. Well, in case she can't make it because she's out kicking it. Happy birthday, Levette. And if you get to tune in, I'll get to say it to you personally. Yay. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects are going to check in as the show goes on. That I can guarantee you. It's going to be fun because we have a phenomenal show at 9:30. We're going to get started early, baby. Early. At 9:30. What do we got? Do we got to start? Oh, my man. Evan Altman. Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com is going to join us. And, man, the big bombshell that dropped yesterday. Woo, Charlie. I'm sorry, on Monday. We're going to talk about that with Evan Altman. Craig Counsell replaces David Ross. A la Ricky Renteria and Joe Madden. Does that mean Levette Lee's in the house? Good morning, mommy. Happy birthday. I heard it's your birthday. Hey. But yeah, David Ross got replaced. The big bombshell. No one saw it coming. And we're going to talk to Evan Altman about it because, woo, Charlie, that sent ripples, not just through Cubs Nation. It sent ripples through the entire Major League Baseball. There are a lot of other teams who were interested in Craig Counsell's services, but they didn't know he was going to be a free agent. Then once he was, they had to wait till after a certain date. And after a certain date, the Cubs were the first to swoop in, made him the highest paid manager in the history of League Baseball with no World Series appearances, no World Series wins. Can he do it again for this organization? Well, we're going to find out. That's at 9:30. Then at 10 o'clock, my man Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago. We're going to talk Bears football, baby. That's what I'm talking about. A lot going on. Is Justin going to play? Is he not going to play? Do you want him to play? Do you not want him to play? Should he play? Or should you rest him and give him an extra 10 days off and have him come back the following game? I don't know. How hot is the seat for Matt Eberflus? How hot is the seat for Luke Getsy? Can they save their jobs? What should the Bears do with the first overall pick if they get it? If they don't get it, what should they do? There's a lot of questions I want to ask Glenn. So make sure you tune in today, 10 o'clock. Glenn Morgan. You have a phenomenal show. I'm telling you. It's about to be jumping. That's what I'm talking about, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Woo-wee. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me. Wow. I can continue to amaze myself. That tea is awesome. Cornelius Squalls, the Cubs hire real coaches. You know what? I would call bullshit on that, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. And not only did they hire them, they don't matter who's in place. All right. Ricky Renteria, sorry. This guy we feel is a better fit for this team. Boom. Got to go. David Ross, a guy that they love. A guy that they love. A guy that they love, they get rid of. Crazy. So they do what they got to do. They spend money. They spend money like they're the third largest market in the country because we are. Chicago is. And yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it plays out the way it did some years ago, about 10 years ago. We'll see. So, guys, you know how we do. We got to get rolling. You know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Well, here we go. Where we going? Let's see. Where we going? Which way do we start? Which way do we go? Do we do that? Yeah, we could do it. The Bulls. That's where we're starting, baby. The Bulls host the Phoenix Suns tonight at the United Center. Tip-off is 7 o'clock. That game is on NBC Sports Chicago on the television side. And on the radio side, it is on 670 AM. You know, they're hosting the Suns. They had a big win the other day. Can they get it? Can they continue it is the question. That's the question. Can you continue it? We're going to find out. All right. The Bulls, you know, they're in a state of flux. I don't really like what they did or what they haven't done. They added a couple of guys. Okay. And I think that was really cool. That was really cool that they added some guys, some three-point shooters, but I don't know how much it moves the needle. To me, it doesn't move the needle very much. What moves the needle is someone like Alonzo Ball. Someone who, as we saw when he was playing, when he was starting and running this offense, we had the best record in the Eastern Conference. Best record. Okay. This team is a couple years older now. DeMar DeRozan's a couple years further into his decline. Zach LaVine is the unquestioned leader of this team now. Vooch is back after signing a new deal. They had a team meeting after the first game that they lost. I don't know. But you can watch them take on the Phoenix Suns tonight. And that game is at the United Center. If you want to go, I'm sure you can go get tickets. Either go to the Bulls, go to Ticketmaster, go to a third party. All right, but tip off at 7 o'clock on NBC Sports. Chicago. Shoot. Moving on. Next top of the morning topic. Here's the one we're going to talk about big time today at the bottom of the hour. The Cubs. Woo-wee. Cubs made big news by hiring Craig Counsell. All right. Milwaukee's manager. And it's 90 miles up the road. All right. He was a free agent. They couldn't talk with him until the first, I want to say. The Cubs swooped in, got him, gave him a 5-year, uh, $40 million plus deal. Is this the guy to take him to the next level? Is this the guy to take them to the next level? Because you know what, there's going to be there's a lot of questions. Okay, can they do it? Will they do it? All right, but what they need talent, and you have some young talent. Don't get me wrong. You have some young talent in there. You got a lot. You added some veterans. Okay, but you need more. You need more. You need more pitching. Right? You need catching. You need pitching. You need the battery. You're pitching, catching. You need another big free agent bat. Is Soto in the mix? Juan Soto in the mix? That's what people are talking about. But this signals one thing: the signing of Craig Counsell. And we're going to talk to Evan Altman at the bottom of the hour. Shoot, in about 7-8 minutes, we're going to talk to Evan. This means they have to spend. This means they are going to start spending. That's what this means. You don't go get a manager, make him the highest paid manager in the history of Major League Baseball, and say, "Yeah, we want to rebuild under you." That's not how it works. That's not how it works. All right, Joe Girardi yesterday from the Marquee, works for the Marquee Network. He said the Cubs are going for it, and he's right. He's right. The time to win is now. You got a 5-year window to get another World Series championship. 5-year window. Don't expect one next year. No. Maybe in 25, they'll be a lot more competitive. Maybe NLCS. Okay, but 26, 27, 26 and 27. Yeah. Yeah. They should be World Series contenders in 26 and 27. They're not playing around. They are acting like the big boys that they are. Acting like the big boys that they are. You get a couple of free agent signings. God forbid you go get a top of the line, top of the rotation pitcher and Juan Soto. Whew. Can you bring back Cody Bellinger? The price tag for Cody Bellinger is going to be steep. Do you want to do that for him? Hey, he'll listen. He will definitely listen. See who else. Some people just checked in. Mr. Shode is in the house. What's up, Papa? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Be nice from the left coast. Brandon, good morning, Papa. A little early for you out there, huh? 7:30, 7:23 out there. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. We have a little top of the morning segment, and we got Cubs at the bottom of the hour. But moving on, so you can keep it going. The White Sox named Pedro Grifol's staff, the coaching staff for the White Sox. All right, is this. So going across, you got Charlie Montoyo, Ethan Katz. We know who he is. Top right is the assistant pitching coach Matt Wise. Next one is Marcus Thames in the second row. Excuse me. The middle of the second row is Mike Tozar, the assistant hitting coach, and all the way on the right, first base outfield coach Jason Bourgeois. Okay, the bottom, third base infield coach, the second to last, excuse me, is Eddie Rodriguez. And next to him is the catching coach Drew Butera, and then you hired Major League coach Grady Sizemore. This is the staff for Pedro Grifol in 2024. Okay, this is his staff. Like it, love it, hate it. This is his staff. Is it time for Evan yet? The next top of the morning topic: the Blackhawks travel down to Tampa to face the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow. Puck drop is at puck drop is 6:00, and that game is on NBC Sports Chicago. And 7:20 a.m. is their flagship. I don't know why I didn't put it up there. Silly me. But it's up tomorrow. Big time game for the Blackhawks. And lastly, tomorrow the Bears host the Carolina Panthers at Soldier Field. Man, it is This is a game that they have to win. This is a game that they have to win. It's a game that's on Prime Video, but it's also on Fox. It's also on Fox. It'll be, it'll be. You can watch it locally. So check it out tomorrow. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. This is a game they have to win. Keep Carolina down. Keep their record down. So we'll see. You cannot lose to Carolina at home. Can't. So we'll see. And there's a lot of questions. Who's going? Who's starting? Who's this? Who's that? A lot of questions. Is Justin Fields ready? He's day to day. We're going to figure all that out. All right. Well, listen. We got to take a quick break because on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome our guy, Evan Altman. He's from CubsInsider.com. We're going to talk this Jed Hoyer thing. Jed Hoyer decided to make the move. Make a move that shocked the baseball world. Getting rid of David Ross. Hiring Craig Counsell to the richest contract in the history of baseball for a manager. And Craig Counsell hasn't been to a World Series as a manager. Obviously hasn't won one if he hasn't been there. But you know what? The Cubs are paying to play. They want to be in the conversation with the Yankees, with the Red Sox, with the Dodgers, okay, with the teams that spend to win. They have it. They have Wrigleyville on lock. They have the rooftops on lock. They have the hotel on lock. They got money. They got money. A lot of people opted out of their contracts, so they have more money than than originally anticipated. So they need to spend. And spend, I think they will do. All right. So listen. Sit back, relax, and strap it down. All right, we'll be back. We're going to take a quick break, and then Evan Altman is going to join us talking Cubs right here. Right here, Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
Time out. How are you feeling right now? Happy? Excited? Angry? Overwhelmed? One of the best things you can do for your mind health is to name what you're feeling. It can sharpen your awareness and help you talk about your feelings with someone you trust. Here are 3 questions to ask yourself. Where are your thoughts right now? In the past, the present, the future? Do you notice any sensations in your body? Is your heart beating fast? Is there a flutter in your stomach? Or are you fully relaxed? What do you need right now? Time with others? Time to yourself? Remember, there's power in this awareness. So find ways to identify what you're feeling today.
Hi, guys. Hey. Hi, Megan. Hey, Jessica. Megan, you're a tramp. Brian Fitch told me you guys made out. Everybody knows. He said your breath smells like garbage. And he almost puked. He says you're the most desperate girl he knows, besides your mom. How many boyfriends does she have anyway? Lots? Your makeup makes you look like a clown. That zit is huge, zit face. Ugly.
Hey, bud, what you doing?
I'm playing with cars.
Cars? Can you show me what a car does? Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. First of all, this is a school zone. So you need to put down your cell phone, stop texting, and let's get to driving. Now you're coming up to a stop sign, right? You need to slow down and stop before you hit that Y line. I want you to look left, right, left. You don't want to get hit by a car going on your left and to your right to make sure you don't get sideswiped by a guy coming from your right. You're coming, and you see a crosswalk. You better slow your horses down because the number one rule of driving is always yield to pedestrians. Now stop, pull over, and you are done driving. Gosh, what do they teach you kids in school nowadays?
DeRozan steps in. Bulls lead the league in getting. There's Kobe White. DeRozan, 2 for 2. Slip. Vucevic out to Dosumu for 3.
Can shoot the 3 ball. Every time he's on the floor, you worry about him.
Levine, explosion to the rim. A little bit extra space on a great shot block.
Another turnover.
THT gives it up. Zach Levine, easy work. And closest guy is Olynyk with 8. Deep 3. Position Caruso. Levine away. 117 to 102 the final tonight.
Miami's not playing well either.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. Those were the Bullies on Monday with a big win over the Utah Jazz. Woo, 130-113. That was nice. That was, I would say, so far the best game the Bulls have played to this point. Ball movement, shooting. I was impressed. You know what else I was impressed about? What the hell happened on Monday? I was shocked. So we're going to bring in my next guest to talk about it. Man, oh man, oh man. Fresh off his stint for GN Sports where he was looking dapper with his sport coat and everything. I was like, oh, I see you, big dog. I see you. He's the editor-in-chief of CubsInsider.com. He's a good friend of the program, and you can find him on Twitter at @DEvanAltman. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Papa?
I'm good, man. I'm in the same spot, but I'm not wearing my jacket, so now I feel bad, right?
I know, man.
You know what's even worse? Depending on how you look at it, I'm wearing the same T-shirt. I only had it on for like 10 minutes. It's my son's baseball team, so I like to rep that when I'm kind of in public, But then I realized I was like, oh man, hold on. Not only am I not dressed up, I look like I haven't changed, man. I look like a bum.
For 2 days.
Yeah, it's cool. I just put the jacket on, a little deodorant, just and then
Axe. It's all good.
Yeah, you work from home. You don't need to interact with people. Come on.
I hear you. Oh snap, man! What a bombshell, dude!
Ooh.
What a bombshell! And I said it earlier. I said it didn't just send ripples through Cubs Nation. I said it sent ripples through the entire Major League Baseball. Craig Counsell was a guy that no one thought was going to be available, and then they found out he was available. There were people chomping at the bit, and the Cubs weren't even, or to many people, weren't in the mix. And out of nowhere, they swoop in like a hawk with a prey, grabbed them, said, "Hey, just to make it enticing, we'll make you the richest manager in the history of Major League Baseball." I know you haven't won a World Series, you haven't even gone to a World Series as a manager, but here, on good faith, we believe you can. Give me your thoughts when you heard the news that he was coming, because my guy texted me and I was like, they're hiring Craig Counsell. I'm like, for what? Third base coach, first base coach, pitching coach? He's like, no, they're manager. I was like, whoa. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first thing that continues to jump out at me, right, is the fact that they did this effectively under cover of secrecy, right? Like nobody knew.
That's a secret
outside of the
squirrel
immediate
stuff, bro.
circle.
Real
and
secret
Counsell.
squirrel.
Yeah, and the fact that it was done on Sunday morning, and we didn't find out until Monday afternoon. Like even John Heyman, John Morosi, Ken Rosenthal, Jeff Passan, like none of them, and they're tweeting stuff out about what's going on. Like if one of them had known, they're dropping that bomb. Like that, you want to be the one to break that.
That news, hell yeah.
Well, okay. Well, Stephen Vogt to the Guardians. Okay, well that means Counsell's probably going to the Mets. Nope, they hired Carlos Mendoza. Oh, I guess he's going back to Milwaukee. Nope, he's going somewhere else. Oh, now he's going someplace. He's got a manager already. Oh, now it's it was it was really weird because normally, we get this buildup of rumors and connections and all these things. The Cubs were never mentioned as a possibility.
No.
Outside of like fans being like, hey, we should go get Craig Counsell. You know what I mean? And then that seemed like it was gone. So to watch, it's weird because we're so used to news breaking really quickly and Twitter and whatever else. So to watch that effectively evolve over the course of like only maybe an hour, 90 minutes, something like that, like the progression of the news related to him, the way it came out was very interesting to follow. But yeah, that I think as much as there's a lot of ripples, like you said, throughout the industry with the pay, but I think there's also a lot of GMs, a lot of other owners, everybody else throughout baseball that is on notice because Jed Hoyer went in, like you said, swooped in, did something nobody saw coming. And now you're looking at it with free agency looming like, dude, this guy's doing stuff like he is 0 dark 30 special ops.
Like he's serious.
You know what I mean? You didn't see it coming. You didn't know it. Like literally, it happened. We didn't know about it for 24, 28 hours, something like that. Like it's done and he's already back home. Right? When the news is breaking, like, what the heck? And heading into the GM meetings, dude, he's walking in there with some serious BDE, walking around like, what? Right? I mean, that is, baller. Yeah, I can't get over what that means. It's so again.
So talk to me about this then, because talk to me about it because you're not going to hire a manager. First of all, you're not going to fire a guy that you like a lot, and he loved David Ross. Him and David Ross spoke about it. How him and he seek David Ross's counsel on some moves. Okay, you're not going to hire a manager. Get rid of a guy that you love and you respect and trust. Hire a man. You're not going to Ricky Renteria a guy. Okay, bring him in, make him the highest paid manager, and tell him we're in the middle of a rebuild. No. You're going to spend money. How much money? How deep down the rabbit hole do you think the Cubs are going to go now?
Yeah, so that's the interesting part, right? And Hoyer spoke to that last night from the GM meetings in Phoenix. He talked about like, hey, this doesn't mean we're just going to go out there and break the bank and sign everybody. I don't think we're looking at a situation like what we saw with the Rangers when they went out and got Marcus Semien and Corey Seager in the same offseason. Dropped like $500-600 million right there. And then they had DeGrom. They put like $800 million in, and the Cubs
kind of worked out for them.
Yeah, and but they're so you look at it a couple different ways, right? And I made this I've made this comparison a couple times. I compared the Rangers to the Cubs. The Rangers went out and they spent on superstars. The Cubs got Dansby Swanson, very, very solid, right? They had Cody Bellinger for at least a year. Again, very solid, both stars, not superstars. You look at Craig Counsell, you noted earlier, right? He hadn't won a World Series. Look what happened to the Brewers, though. They ride their pitching. What happens late in the season? Brandon Woodruff gets hurt. He's done. That really puts a severe injury, literally and figuratively. It hurts their team. Look at the Rangers. They lost Jacob freaking DeGrom, possibly the best pitcher on the planet when he's healthy. They lose him. They still go on to win the World Series. They went out and traded for Max Scherzer. He got hurt late in the season, missed some of the postseason, and wasn't nearly 100%. They still won. And so I think there's something. So the Cubs are looking at that saying, we understand the need for star power. We understand the need to spend to have those contingency options. And I'm sure you get somebody like Counsell who experienced that loss of Woodruff, who never had the kind of depth on that roster to overcome those issues that you'll see. And I'm sure he's looking at it going, hey, the Cubs are an organization I can go to where they're not going to have such a thin roster. We're going to be able to overcome some of those things. So, do they go out and sign Ohtani and trade for Soto and get Yamamoto, the Japanese pitcher? I don't think they go and get all that, but I think they're very much, Hoyer said it. This doesn't mean we're going to go out there and blow everybody away in the offseason, but if those deals are there, even the big deals that we believe can carry us to where we need to be, we're going to make them. And so I think they're absolutely going to be involved in these conversations, but it's going to come down to what they think is going to fit. And I think they're going to make some splashes.
Well, you don't have to go break the bank to make a splash. All right. Just because a name and the amount of money you spend, you can go get pieces. All right. And in every team, doesn't matter what sports you're in, you got your superstars Then you got your role players. All right. You got your John Paxsons. All right. You have your Craig Hodges. You have those guys who you need. All right. They're not the biggest thing. They're not the most expensive things, but without them, a title isn't possible. Who do you think that the Cubs might go? What are some of the moves you think that they can make? Some of the second tier, third tier guys that know, oh, that's a nice signing, but they could come up late down the stretch with a big hit, late in the season. Who do you think the Cubs would target going down in that second or third tier of free agency to bolster this roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few guys out there, if you look at and certainly, outside, I think the other thing is there could be some big trades, right? I mentioned Juan Soto earlier. You look at Pete Alonso, who's only got a year left, right? They could look at some dudes like that. But I think if you kind of look at a more upgraded version, right? Those kind of guys that we thought they were getting. Eric Hosmer was never really looked at as a difference maker, but Trey Mancini was kind of thought to be a guy who could add a little pop, play first, play DH. I think you look at a Rhys Hoskins, right? A guy who's been in Philly for a long time. The numbers have actually been really good, but never exceptional. He might be looking at a Cody Bellinger type situation of like, hey, if I can get one really big year, maybe I can parlay that into another even bigger deal. And that might be okay. So if Alonso doesn't pan out, or if they don't re-sign Bellinger and have him maybe at first base, Hoskins makes sense there. You look at third base, if they don't go after somebody like a Matt Chapman, right, who might be looking for a bigger payday than perhaps what is kind of, this last year was really defense first. Do you go after a guy like Justin Turner, who's definitely on long in the tooth at the end of his career, still coming off always been a very, very good hitter, coming off a good season in Boston, short-term kind of a deal, right? And those are more the deals that those guys are probably looking to sign early. They don't want to sit out there and wait out the market versus, the guys who are looking for 10, 12 years, whatever. You can lock those guys in, and then that doesn't preclude you from a bigger deal later. So I think they could look at some things like that to kind of be complementary. The bullpen, I think they're going to be very active there, but that market's wide open. And then, who knows? I think we'll see them also really active for starting pitching, looking to add some velocity and some whiffs to that rotation.
What's your thought on Bellinger? I know the price on him is pretty pricey, especially after the year he had, and more power, kudos to him, right? You earned it. You deserve it. All right. People had written you off due to a couple of seasons of injury and subpar play to his standards, of course. He said, I'll take a prove it deal. He did. He bet on himself and he won. What do you think the chances are the Cubs of re-signing him? Because man, he fit in perfectly with that culture.
Yeah. I mean, and you said it there at the end, right? I think that is an underrated part of it. He talked about it a lot, but obviously we look at the numbers, but he just seemed like a guy who, and I think this would be true for any team, right? He's just got that kind of personality where he steps into the room and immediately everybody knows him, everybody likes him. And it's the same way, like you need guys like that on any team. It's, sometimes it's nice to have a John Lackey, somebody who's maybe a little bit abrasive on the outside, but, kind of drives people, pushes people. And then you have a guy like Bellinger who just gets along with everybody, who just has that chill vibe that like never too high, never too low. But, my issue there, I think there are going to be enough because he's basically the second, behind Shohei Ohtani, the second best or, most coveted position player, hitter, whatever you want to call it. And does that trigger an overpay? Because to me, when I look at it, the numbers are really good. But if you get deeper into the batted ball numbers, his exit velocity wasn't really that good. His hard hit percentage wasn't that great. Those aren't things that generally you see improve as a player ages into his, late 20s and into his 30s. I would be very leery of handing him much more than maybe a 5 to 6 year contract. There's some projections that are like wild, like 12 years, 264 million. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Right. But like 150, I'd be comfortable with that because you've got a dude who could easily slot in at first base, who can work into DH. And I think we've seen that he's good enough in those two strike approaches to shorten up the stroke, still be a really, really good hitter. He faces lefties well. Like he's going to continue to be a good hitter, but you don't give someone, $200 million or more if their power is not going to be there. And I don't know how much the Cubs trust in that. I think somebody's going to, outbid them The Yankees, maybe, right? They got a really nice little porch out there in right field that I think fits him well. Heck, and you're playing in. I mean, look at it. Boston's got a short porch out there and right too. Like the AL East is a really good fit for him, I think, from just his profile. But I don't see him coming back to the Cubs unless something comes about that the value is just tremendous for them.
Guys, we're joined by Evan Altman, editor-in-chief of CubsInsider.com, talking Cubs baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. You know what? His versatility is what might allow him to demand more money, because he doesn't have to play just center. All right. He can play not center, but then DH, but also first base. So you can get him on the field and you can keep that bat on the field. All right. As many days as humanly possible. All right. And I think that's huge, because if he hits anywhere near like he did last year and first couple of years of his career, I think it'll be a pretty interesting offseason for him. And I think he's going to be rolling. Put it this way, he's not going to have to apply for food stamps anytime soon. Let me tell you that. That's for damn sure. What do you think on the starting pitching? Who do you think the Cubs may go after? Big splash, kind of middle of the road guy, because that is one of the areas that they need.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Yamamoto, the 25-year-old starter out of Japan, right? Like that's a guy you generally don't see Japanese players come over that young, right? It's a lot of people, these Japanese pitchers, they don't adjust as well. And I think a lot of that, it comes when these guys are at least into their late 20s, if not into their 30s already, right? So you are seeing maybe they're not in that athletic prime, whereas this is a guy who's just heading into his, he's won the Japanese Triple Crown or, Quadruple Crown or whatever when you add in some of these other things. Like he's easily the best pitcher over there. I think that's he's going to be very highly sought after. I think that's something, but, they maybe look at is Shane Bieber an option? Is he going to be moved? Are there some other dudes like that? I really, really, and I know a lot of people aren't with me on this one because of the injury track record, but Tyler Glasnow, I can't imagine the Rays are going to keep him around at his $25 million salary or whatever he's got. So you're talking about a guy who's, again, only a year left, right? I mentioned this with a couple other players earlier. I think that's a deal where, hey, the Cubs have got some guys coming up, right? They lost Marcus Stroman, which I think is going to end up being a good thing for them. There's $21 million off the books with the dude who's a contact-heavy type pitcher. I mentioned earlier they need velocity. They need whiffs in that starting rotation. You're not getting much more of that than a guy like Tyler Glasnow. And if there is an injury risk, okay, cool. He's only there for a year, right? You're not locked in anything long-term. You have a stopgap for some of these guys like Cade Horton, who's just going to be a stud pitcher coming up, I believe, for them. So I have kind of leaned on that for a while. So like my two, again, it's like Glasnow for one reason, Yamamoto for another. Why not just go get them both, right? Stretch out that rotation. Who knows?
How do you think the players view this? All right. A lot of players like Rossi, I liked him as well. But how do you think the players view this? Especially if they were close with Rossi, even if they weren't, what is this saying to them as to the direction or the intention of the Cubs this year?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a couple different ways that you look at that, right? And the first of those is just, I'm sure on a personal level, right, that absolutely sucks for them, especially for the guys who are maybe who have been around him for a while. Some of them played with him, right? Not as many necessarily with the Cubs, but have known of him from that. I mean, he's been in that locker room, in that clubhouse for a few years now. This is 4 years. So a lot of those guys, I'm sure, dug the style that he kind of carried out, right? The way he carried himself, the way he kept everybody in check. But I also think, there were probably, and look, we've all been there, right? Maybe it was a teacher, maybe it was a boss, somebody that you've had in the past where you really liked them on a personal level, but there's maybe things about their teaching or their managerial style or whatever that you're like, it leaves a little bit to be desired, right? And coaches too. Like I've had some coaches who I really thought were great people, awesome people, but when it got down to it, come game day, it just didn't quite fit. And I think with these guys having been around the league for as long as they have, I think that once that initial kind of shock and maybe a little bit of hurt feelings go past, you look at it, you see the same thing Jed Hoyer did, where it's like, hey, this was a really tough decision to make. I didn't like having to make it, but at the end of the day, we feel like we left wins on the table, and we feel like Craig Counsell is a guy who could have earned us more wins last year and who will get us more wins in the future. And when you look at it from a business perspective, if your goal is to win as many games as possible, to go as deep as possible in the playoffs, and to hoist a trophy at the end of it, I think they have to look at it and say, this guy gives us a better chance to do that than what we had.
Hopefully for you guys, they do, and sitting back here from the South side and looking at it, I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous. I hate you guys even more now. You see what you need and you identify it and you go get it. 1 year ago today, Bruce Bochy was available, for us. And what do we do? He was all right. He's only a 3-time World Series winning manager. So, I guess we didn't really need to bring him in for an interview. And what does he do the following year? And don't get me wrong, they spent money. And I think that's the issue. And, so we're a little pissy over here on the South side. And we look at what happened over there. Like, wow, they identify the dudes. They get it. They identify them and they go get them. Doesn't even matter. I think Wrigleyville is going to be even on and popping even more this year because of the expectations now, because of what they've done, because they're all in. They're all in. I don't expect them to win a World Series in 24. All right. Maybe not even 25, but I think 26, 27. I think they'll be serious contenders. How soon do you think they'll be serious contenders for a World Series?
Yeah, I think that timeline makes sense, right? Like, and again, as I noted, I think there's several players that they're going to be looking at. A lot of folks are like, oh, you can't keep winning with transitional one-year guys. And I get it. And I don't think it's a situation where they're going to try to, recycle 5 or 6 spots or anything. But it does sort of feel like, again, there is a bit of a transition. They're not quite at that point where you've got like 2, 3, 4 prospects who are ready to come up and immediately impact in a huge way, right? There's not really that. I'm big on Pete Crow Armstrong. I don't think it's like next year he's going to be Corbin Carroll or anything like that, right? But what's interesting to me, and as you see this transition, there's 2 sides to it, and this is just what you just said, and I think I mentioned this a little bit earlier. Like, you don't get Craig Counsell without offering him some assurances that you're definitely planning to spend and to win and to give him the best possible roster. At the same time, you don't guarantee this dude $8 million a year for 5 years if your only intent is to win right now. If it was just to go out and spend a ton of money, bring everybody in immediately, do you really need to spend all that on this guy, right? I think they want to look at this as giving him some time. I'm interested to see how, I think I noted this on a podcast last night. I wish we had a time machine or the multiverse where we could look at it and say, what does the offseason look like if David Ross remains the manager? Do they make the same exact moves under that? Because I do believe if Ross was the manager, they would have to, believing that Counsell is worth more wins. I think if you keep Ross, you have to go bigger in the offseason. Actually, you have to get a better roster. And that's not to say they're going to go cheap, right? I don't mean that, and that they'll just stay away from everybody. But I think plus Ross only had 1 year on his deal, right? When you have a guy locked in for 5 years, you believe he's your manager of the future to take you to the World Series, you don't feel like we have to do it all and lock ourselves into these monster contracts this winter. We can push that through the next 2-3 years. So, I think you're looking at winning the division or, fighting for that wild card spot this coming season, definitely winning the division the year after, and then, thinking, hey, we've got a real shot at this thing 25, 26, 27 as you move forward.
I tell you what, I'm telling you, we're a little jealous over here, a little pissy that you guys are acting like a big boy squad, but we know what we got over here on the South side. It's going to be fun. And now you talk about putting asses in seats. It's really going to put asses in seats up on the north side. Never had a problem with that before. But now that again, the hiring, it signals you're going to spend, not necessarily crazy, but you're going to spend, and you're contenders. And I think it's going to, the fan base is going to be even more rabid than they are now. And for you guys, it's going to be fun. I'm going to have to deal with a lot of BS from all my Cub fan friends. I've already gotten a lot of texts. How's it? Hey, wouldn't you wish you had a owner that spends? I'm like, yeah, screw you. But it's going to be fun. The next 5 years on the north side, and maybe longer. and maybe longer. The next 5+ years on the north side are going to be pretty fun. And, depending on who they get, because you still have a lot of guys. You still got Swanson. You still have you got Nico. You got Hap. You have, and then don't forget Morel. You're anticipating Morel taking a big step forward. You still have a lot of good pieces, a nice core there. Adding some more free agents, like you said, if you get a Soto, damn. Believe me, I'm gonna turn my phone off if you guys get a Soto, because all my buddies are my Cub fan friends. That'll be an influx. It'll be an avalanche of Cub text.
You're just gonna have to roll up to Wrigley like Jed Hoyer did, with Council. You're just gonna have to do it on the slide, just kind of sneak in and watch some good baseball. Just come up there,
hey,
in there, look through the knotholes or whatever, right?
Look through the chain link fence, like,
yeah.
I wish that was us. Hey, Evan, man, great stuff. I appreciate your time, man. Do me a big favor though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, absolutely. You can check me out if you just want to follow it on Twitter at @DEvanAltman or X or whatever it's called. At Real Cubs Insider. You find us on Facebook, Cubs Insider, or just go to CubsInsider.com.
Dude, great stuff, buddy. I know you got to be happy as a pig and slop over there, you and the rest of Cubs Nation.
It's good stuff,
man, because he'll bring free agents. Like you get a guy with players like, oh wait, the Cubs did this. They're trying to win for real. They're not even playing. They're not bullshitting. They're not. Oh wow. So yeah, it signals a lot. It signals. And that's the difference between our organizations. One just wants to kind of make the playoffs or play in or wild card or whatever. And you guys like, no, the brass ring is what we want, period. So frustrating over here on the south side, and frustrating for my Bulls because he owns the Bulls too. That's another shit show. But
yeah. Hey, somebody in Chicago's got to start doing it right. Like the Blackhawks are kind of finally doing something again. Hopefully that'll be fun moving forward with the young star there. But man, I don't know. Hey, I'm just looking forward to seeing how the Bears screw up having like 2 top 5 picks. That's going to be real fun.
Dude, if I had hair, bro, I'd pull it out. Dude, my next guest coming on, we're talking Bears after, and it's just...
They should just draft 2 quarterbacks, screw them both up.
Dude, that's hilarious. If they get 1 or 2, draft Caleb Williams and Drake May.
draft them both, do the Steve Spurrier, just alternate series, Why not? Just go all in on screwing them all up.
You talk about if you're gonna screw up, go. That's the old saying. If I'm gonna be punished for a month because I came in 10 minutes late, I'm gonna stay out an extra 2 hours. Okay,
yeah.
Screw it. Give me 3 first generational quarterbacks and figure out. You guys battle it out to the death.
Might as well.
Dude, great stuff, man. We'll talk soon.
Man.
Thanks a lot.
We'll see you.
All right. Guys, that's Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com talking Cubs baseball here on Shawn and Maya in the morning. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome my guy, Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago. We're going to talk Chicago Bears football. They play tomorrow night, hosting the Carolina Panthers on the lakefront. A game they have to win tomorrow to kind of keep Carolina down and improve the number their pick. Remember, they have Carolina's number 1 overall pick, their first round pick this year. I shouldn't say that. They have the first round, not the number 1 overall. It's not set yet. They have Carolina's first round pick, and that is in the discussion for the top overall pick, depending on how the rest of their season continues. Them and Arizona have only 1 win on the season, and you want to make sure that you keep it at only one win. Actually, we play both teams, so we can beat. If we should beat both teams. We keep both of those teams at 1 win. So maybe if you want to let the Cardinals beat you, so their pick they'll drop to number 2. Carolina goes to number 1. Then you have a lot of options. We'll see. Excuse me. But anyway, we're going to be right back on the other side of the break. We're going to welcome my guy, Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago. So don't go anywhere. Keep it like that, locked right here, folks. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
To run for 17, back he goes, here comes Chubb, there goes the ball, touchdown, Mooney! Jones will walk at the left tackle, time for Fields, now he'll accelerate to get the first down, great tackles, and he's off to the races, and we got a terrific block.
For every generation, it has started with the call to serve. Discovering the purpose and the belonging earned with the title. learning to dig deep and push through adversity together, defending our nation and its people. It is a life of great worth and reward. But Marines are never really finished serving. Their commitment comes full circle, visible in communities across our country. This is Semper Fidelis, always faithful, always Marine, marking a path for the next generation.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
Chicago in the red zone, where they are tied for 4th this year in touchdown percentage. Bagent looking deep for Cole Kmet. Oh, what a catch! Kmet goes up to get it, and it's a touchdown for the Bears!
On the throwback. This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow.
On 2nd down, Bagent steps up in the pocket. He'll run it again. He's got the first down and more. Bagent slides down at the 34-yard line. After a loss of 5, Bagent to Evans. Some room down the sideline, and he picks up the first down. On 1st down, Bagent looking to throw, and he's got Darnell Mooney for a first down. Trent Taylor goes in motion, play action for Bagent over the middle. DJ Moore into New Orleans territory and wrapped up at the 47-yard line. There's the handoff to Foreman, and Deontay Foreman finds a lane across the 40.
You see him line up in the tush-push look.
On 4th and inches, Bagent looking to throw, and now he'll run it himself, and he picks up the first down. Foreman, the running back, another carry for Deontay Foreman, trying to get to the outside, and he does. Stiff arm on Lattimore, and Foreman picks up the first down.
Oh, welcome. Oh, hold on. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of Fox. Give me 1 second. Having some audio difficulties getting Glenn on, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going until he's able to get on. It shouldn't take that long. I don't know what the situation is. It's damn technology thing. I'm telling you. Freaking technology. Anyway, I'm excited. I'm apprehensive about tomorrow. All right, I'm excited and I'm apprehensive. Okay, it seems as if the Bears. Or maybe it's a rule that they placed on the Bears. I'm not sure, where they're not allowed to make adjustments at halftime because they don't make adjustments at halftime. Okay. Tyson Bagent, I love the fact that they wanted the ball first. I thought it was dope. You win the toss, give me the ball. Some would argue, yeah, you want the ball in the second half. I get it. I see both sides of it. I personally would probably take the ball because especially if you get on a roll. Okay. But what I'm confused at is why we're not making adjustments. And this is a crazy idea. I know this is crazy. Call me crazy. Why not have a set of scripts, a set of 15 plays to start the second half as well, just like you do the first half? Why? Why is that so difficult? Okay. It's bothersome that the first half the Bears are doing well, but then all of a sudden the second half, other teams make adjustments. We don't. Why not script the first 15 for the second half regardless? And then you can, during the week, you can say, okay, if we're up, this is what I want. If we're down, this is what I want. If we're tied, this is what I want. You can do that. It's okay. It's not against the rules. You can do that. You can do that. It's okay. And, you know, I just think that it's unfortunate that they don't think this way. All right. Football is complicated a game as it is. As Stacey King sometimes says, or says often, sometimes it's a simple game. It's a simple game. And when you have something that works, keep running it until they stop it. When you have something that works, and you have to go into a game and saying, hey, listen, we're going to run the ball right down their throat. So here's what's going to happen. When we run the ball, they're going to do this because they're going to need to stop the run. Once they do this, then we're ready because we're going to do this. See how simple that is? See how simple that is? So I don't understand why that's an issue with the Bears. I don't understand why it's an issue. But it is. Okay, I'm glad we can put the Tyson Bagent QB1 thing to rest. Okay, and it sucks because a certain segment of the fan base made it difficult. And I like Tyson Bagent. I wanted him to do well. I want him to succeed because I'm a Bears fan. All right, I root for the Bears. But man, there was just the sentiment was a little more than just football, and it was really bothersome. Okay, the sentiment here in Chicago was a little more than just football, and it was bothersome. I thought we were here for the Bears. Okay, and then all of a sudden, and all these blowhards, Tyson Bagent is better than Justin Fields, and at that point I knew I can't talk to you because you don't know shit about football. For you, someone to make a statement like that is stupid. Football's stupid. And then all of a sudden, they're like, well, Tyson had to deal with the offensive coordinator, the play of his teammates, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, whoa, hold on, player. When Justin has to deal with these, it's Justin sucks. Ohio State quarterbacks suck. But when Tyson Bagent has to deal with this, then it's, he's an undrafted free agent rookie who's doing really well, and they should do better for him. Can't have it both ways. So now you're seeing it's not just the quarterback. You're not seeing it's not just Justin Fields. And if any of you think that for whatever reason, Tyson Bagent is better than Justin Fields, you might need a lobotomy. Yes. Hey, Kramer did say trade Justin after one game, and that's why I was like, really, Eric? Really? He was on one. I don't know. That's his opinion. He can have it. I just didn't agree with it. That's what they tell me, Brandon. That cocaine is a hell of a drug. That's what I've heard from a few people. I don't know. I ain't gone down that rabbit hole, but that's what they tell me. Listen, my next guest, we got his video issues taken care of. I'm excited to bring him on. He's a draft analyst at NBC Sports Chicago. Good friend of the program. He's also the co-host of the Easy Smoke and GM podcast, guys. And you can find him on Twitter at True Glenn Morgan. Guys, it's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy, Glenn Morgan. Glenn, what's up, Papa? Good morning.
Man, bro, I apologize. Hey, good morning. Thank you for being patient with that. Our technology just went haywire on me. I think the AI took over, and what's the one from Skynet? I think Skynet had something to do with my audio. Yeah. So sorry about that, man.
Hey, don't worry about it, man. We're all good. It's glad to have you back on, man. It's always fun to talk to you,
fun to be here
and talking Bears, man. So this whole situation, Tyson Bagent, Justin Fields is the biggest situation here.
Is it really?
But
is
you
that
know
the
what?
really big? Is that
Talking to a lot of the media members, yes, they want to keep that alive. They want to keep that. They want to push that agenda, and it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is.
I think Tyson Bagent is can be a great backup. He can have a Chase
Daniels
had a Chase Daniels type of career, which is great. 25 to 35 million, maybe even 50 million like Chase. Hey, that's a hell of a salary, a lifestyle, a life earnings for a kid from West Virginia. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, kid from anywhere, but definitely West Virginia. Yeah, I mean, to your point, man, I mean, we're really starting to see how much the second quarterback or the backup, however you want to name it, is important and the necessity. We just seen one guy play for two teams in Josh Dobbs leave Arizona and make Arizona. I thought Arizona was going to be, I thought they were tanking on purpose when they signed Josh Dobbs like a week or two or 10 days or whatever before the season began. And they actually got some wins and been competitive in most of their games. And then to leave and go to Minnesota, not know anybody's names. We keep hearing that story. He doesn't know his teammates. Comes into the game. They didn't even start the game. Comes in mid-game. And then they turn around and win the game. You see how important someone can be to your organization when they have just an idea of how to play the quarterback position. And they can facilitate things out there. So, yeah, to Tyson Bagent, great. I'm sure he'll continue to develop as he stays in the NFL, and it looks like he should have a viable career as an NFL quarterback. That being said, there's a reason why he was a free agent pickup. There's a reason why Justin was a first-round talent. And the things that Tyson's doing or has done, I would say I don't see that there's anything different than Justin would do in terms of, I think the plays may be a bit more explosive in terms of getting a bit more from them. I think there are things that Tyson does differently than Justin. They're different people, and getting the ball out of his hands. We've talked about that, but let's not completely ignore the fact that Tyson was holding on to the ball a lot in the Saints game. There were times, and the offensive line was giving him 5-6 seconds, and he still couldn't get anybody.
But no one wants to mention that. No. No one wants to mention that.
You gotta mention everything. If you want to keep it real and keep everything in some amount of perspective, you have to take that into account. I'm not Tyson at all when I say that.
Right.
And what I'm getting at, and when you said everything's and this by everything, the media people out there that are reporting these stories and a narrative that's being constructed that it's Justin, Tyson, Justin. I'm like the common denominator here is offensive coordinator people. The common denominator here is the offensive coordinator, his system, and how he even uses and utilizes that system. I, for the life of me, don't understand why this dude continues to go away from a running game that is putting it on people. You have an offensive line that is exceptional at run blocking. Exceptional. Not good, not average. They are exceptional. And Tevin Jenkins, who I know you want to get to a little bit later on, is one of the premier people out there pounding people and pancaking people and putting it on people. And that's how you want to be able to get a yard or two. Keep running the ball. Keep running the ball. You don't have to worry about doing any weird kind of, jet sweep or have your tight end come on the center to try and fool somebody. Just pound them. Keep at that. You've got all your running backs, all your main running backs who carry, the guys who are the workhorse type running backs. When my guy who's injured comes back being healthy, and Khalil, when he comes back being healthy, you've got Roshan, who's a pounder, and obviously we've been seeing what Dante Foreman's been doing. They will run the ball at you, through you, around you, past you. Why are you going away from that? To set a play action to help your quarterbacks, to help your receivers uncover. It blows my mind, and I know I'm going on here on tangents because every time I think about it, I just go from one thing to the next. But the common denominator to me is his offensive coordinator. He has got to go. Things he does, he'll do them well, then he goes away from it. I don't know why. And it's like he makes adjustments.
Really well, Glenn. This is working really well. Let's change it.
Yeah, right. right. Let's adjust before they try to wait to adjust to what I'm doing. No, you don't have to do that. You can keep doing it. And I'm watching the game against the Saints, and I'm seeing Tyson, throw on the run, moving pocket. I'm like, how is this any different than what Justin was doing, being successful doing that? Why would you go away from that? And then the most telling thing to me when you're watching that telecast of the game against the Saints, they put up that graphic and it shows Justin and Tyson is basically the same damn thing.
Yep.
The yards are pretty much the same. The points are pretty much the same. And the record, obviously Justin has more. You can well, Justin's been around longer. It should be better. No, not necessarily, because this is a new team. When we talked at the beginning of this year, and you said, everyone's all hyped up, and I was like, hold on, people. This is a whole new team again. This is a new team from last year. There's a lot of new moving pieces here. It's going to take time, things to get into sync here. Justin had to deal with that early on. Tyson's dealt with it when things have been a little bit better in sync. The offensive line's been a little bit better synced up. The defense, the secondary starting to get a little more healthy, but the record is still both have one win, and the numbers statistically, offensively, are basically the same. What's the common denominator? Offensive coordinator.
Yeah. If you're the offensive coordinator, or if the situation, do you play Justin tomorrow if healthy, or would you sit him out and let him sit the extra 10 days to enhance his recovery?
If I care about Justin, if I'm invested in Justin, if I have some idea of I want to build things and I really want this young man to have every opportunity to excel, and by extension we benefit from that, then no, why don't play him against Carolina? I give him 7 more days, 10 days, whatever it is, to become more. His thumb's only going to be more healthy. It's not going to be less healthy if he's keeping up with, what I mean? So yeah. And now if I'm Justin, I'm like, excuse the language, I'm like, F y'all go have me come in and be the engine to my own destruction here. No, I'm not gonna come in and help you win so you can pick somebody, not me. I'm like, come on, man, I'm not that much of a masochist. So no, there's no reason Justin has to run out here. I mean, okay, yeah, it's one more game, sure. Is 8 games being played less going to be that much different than the 7 games? He still is going to need a full complement of games to show what he can do, whether it's for this organization or any other organization or any other offensive coordinator who may want to take on Justin as their quarterback. So why not do it when I'm more healthy? Why not do it when I have a full strength in my thumb? 7 games, I can give you the best 7 games as opposed to 2 decent games. Maybe he has a setback against Carolina, then he's really messed up for the rest of the year. So no, I wait until the following Sunday where they play.
I agree with you. I love him, and I want him to play. I want to see him out there. But you know what? Just give it an extra 10 days. Because man, that 10 days, his thumb could be 85, 90, 95% at that particular point, maybe 80, 90, at that particular point with the treatment and everything. And then he can grip it and rip it at that particular point. I'll be extremely happy, because I'll tell you what, your thoughts on this, because I think he's watching. Obviously, he's hearing, and if he's not hearing, his people are hearing and letting him know what's being said.
Right.
And Justin's a competitor, and I think he wants to make sure that there's no question that he's the man. There's no question that that the Bears need to build around him. There's no question. I mean, he's given almost 3 seasons of his football career. First one sucked. Last year sucked. They tanked. So. And now his last couple of games, he had 1 bad game right when he got hurt. He had 2 really nice games, averaged 300 yards and 4 tutties in those 2 games.
More explosive.
Yeah. So I think I hope and I think he's the type of guy like, okay, challenge accepted. And if he goes out and gives me if they sit him and in the last 7 games, how many good games, 250 plus, 2 tutties, how many games like that do you think he needs for them to say, okay, he's our dude? Or do you think they say he's our dude already, regardless, and they're just playing coy and saying, you know what, we're driving up the price by going to see Caleb Williams, by going to see Drake May. Justin is our dude. We just want to drive the price up for the haul we're going to get if we get the number 1 pick. Your thoughts?
No, there's no way I believe they think 100% that Justin's the guy. There's too many temptations. There's a temptation of 2 first-round draft picks to do a lot of things with, and this slate of quarterbacks coming out, which again, unproven, but there's a slate of quarterbacks coming out. They're going to be really good quarterbacks in the first round. They're going to be really good quarterbacks in the second round, and you may find a player or 2 in the latter rounds as well. There's probably going to be anywhere from as little as 12 quarterbacks drafted to as many as maybe up to 20. I don't think it'll be that many, but between 12 to 15 probably drafted overall, once the draft is said and done. That temptation there, and the temptation fiscally to reset everything. Plus, they just gave, we extended Sweat, or his contract's been negotiate to where he's a $98 million man, signed billing. So we still have a lot of cap money available. I think we've got around maybe 67 million or so available, which is still like top 5, top 10 in the NFL going forward. But there are other things that we need, and the allure of money and getting that dead cap space off books has always been important. I think the Bears are just under $1 million now, which is pretty good, all things considered. So yeah, there are too many temptations. And here's the other thing. I keep saying offensive coordinator's a problem. Now he being posed as giving Eberflus the Godfather sense of like, hell no, everything's fine. I like him, which I never trust. Your job's fine. Okay, is it really? I've won 2 out of the last 19 games. Is my job really safe? No, we're good here. Nothing to see. So I'm a little concerned about that. The Godfather, the seal of approval. But there's a temptation of getting a new coaching staff. And when you get a new coaching staff, that coaching staff, more than likely, part of the selling point to them would be having new putty or new clay to mold. And Justin, I'm not saying he's damaged goods, but there are things you have to get out of him. Unlearn. Yeah, unteach, unlearn, that you wouldn't have to do with somebody that's new. And there's so many temptations. It's right now, it's so many things are contingent upon this and that and here and there, that right now polls is like, I just need to see more of what's going on here. Glenn Alexander Morgan, am saying get rid of the offensive coordinator. Even if you keep Eberflus, get rid of the offensive coordinator. But here's the tricky part. If you get rid of offensive coordinator, what good offensive coordinator that's not a first-time offensive coordinator are you going to want to get in here, who's going to stay more than a couple of years, or who's going to want to come onto a staff where you don't know if the head coach is going to be here for any length of time? So that's a conundrum. And then if you get rid of the coaching staff because you're deciding, hey, you know what, we're going to blow it up, and by blow it up, the quarterbacking position, and start over here and kind of give yourself some more flexibility and some years with money. Okay, you still got the same problem. You still got to find somebody that can develop a quarterback, somebody that can have an offensive system in place for his development, and someone who's not going to leave. So you're probably going to want to focus on getting a head coach who was a former offensive coordinator, but not a first-time head coach. So what is that animal out there? And so there's a lot of things to try and figure out, and it's not going to be easy. And so are they set on Justin right now? No, not necessarily, because Justin, again, by the end of this draft, what are you going to have to do? End of this draft, you're going to have to decide whether or not you're going to take his option year. Okay, so that's a certain kind of commitment, at least for another year. Now, that doesn't mean you have to give him a new contract. You can do what the Giants did with Jones. You have other options. The other thing is, how tradable can Justin be for you? That's another commodity. So if you restart it, can I get something for Justin? So, man, there's just so many if, buts, thens, and candy nuts that I have no idea definitively right now in early November what's going to happen. To be a cliche, the season's going to have to play itself out.
Guys, we're joined by Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago, talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Let me give you a couple of scenarios. Number 1 overall pick, trade Justin, or keep the pick, or trade it. Number 1 overall pick.
What, the Bears, or what I would do? I just want to be clear. Me, I'm keeping Justin. I'm trading that pick so I can develop around this year. I mean, I can get a ton. I can get a crap ton, because whether it's Caleb Williams, people like, or whether it's Drake May, or whether Bo Nix shoots up the boards even more, there are at least 3 quarterbacks that somebody's going to want, and they're going to give me more of what I might want. So I would trade that pick. Now, the Carolina pick, I'm assuming that'll be the one that's the worst pick between the Bears. They may not be, especially if we win. We can definitely help ensure that if we win Thursday. And by we, I do mean us Bears. Yes, I'm being part of that whole contention there. But so yeah, we have the first pick overall. I'm trading that pick, and I'm using the Bears pick to hopefully, Marvin Harrison may or may not be available. Olu Fashanu may or may not be available, but there are other Joe Alt. If I can't get Olu, I like Joe Alt out of Notre Dame. I like Ron Madunze out of Washington. I also like Malik Neighbors out of LSU. LSU receivers, it's hard to go wrong with those guys. They know how to And if I go further down, I like Emeka out of Ohio State as well, although he hasn't had as prolific a year this year, but I know that the talent is there, and I know he's a good player as well. You've got Troy Franklin out of Oregon. You've got several other players, and coming up the board, even in the second round, because I'm assuming when we trade that first round pick, we'll recoup a second round pick somewhere. It won't be as high as the one we just gave away or traded away, but it'll be somewhere probably between 40 and 60. You can get a receiver like Leggett out of South Carolina, who's really been kicking people's butts down there, quietly, because South Carolina sucks and most people don't know about it. If a tree falls and no one knows about it, did it really fall? But Leggett is that tree that's falling. I'm letting you know right now, he's a legit receiver. So, and he's very much in the mold of a AJ Brown type kind of guy. So, that could play very well as a number 2 next to the guy that we already have in DJ Moore.
Your thoughts? Harbaugh's going through a lot of static over in Michigan. He might be relieved of his duties there. Your thoughts on the Bears going to bring back home one of their own?
I'm not pissed. Several years ago, I'd been like, I don't know, Jim's kind of quirky. But now I'm like, you know what? If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I know he's trying. I know he gives a damn in Michigan.
Every other Big 5 coach, Power 5 coach.
Right. But the other thing too, when you look back with his development with Kaepernick, and his time in San Francisco, and how much we won, not we, I mean how much San Francisco won. And when I say we, I meant collectively the Kaepernick and Harbaugh contendants, what I meant. How much they were able to win. You're talking back-to-back NFC Championship appearances, a Super Bowl appearance. They ran out of time in the Super Bowl, if you ask them.
If it wasn't for one phenomenal throw by Baltimore, they're Super Bowl champs. One phenomenal throw.
With the kickoff return, don't forget about that. That was a big thing right before the lights went out. So I'm looking at the fact that Harbaugh knows how to coach in the NFL, former quarterback, and then he's been able to develop this type of quarterback that has dual threat capabilities. And let's be certain, I mean, Justin's a way better passer than Kaepernick was.
Look at this comment. And that night, and this guy he's from the Bay Area, Brandon. He said that night his run game was magical with Harbaugh and Roman. Can you imagine what Harbaugh could do with this stable of running backs that he has now behind Tevin and Darnell Wright? Are you freaking kidding me? I'll tell you what, I don't know a lot, Glenn, but I'll tell you what, he's going to have a offensive lineman check it, report is eligible, and have him motion, get him a head start. I guarantee Harbaugh will have that play for short yardage and not little stupid tight end tush push.
Yeah, tush push. Yeah, that's not. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm. It's not very hard sell for me for Harbaugh at all. If he wants to leave, if Michigan is going to get rid of him, if the Big Ten is going to, feel like it has to do something, the Big Ten is big money now, or the Big 20, I should say, whatever, how many teams are in there, it's big money now, and with the playoff expanding in college, there's even more money. So I don't know if Michigan's ready to just dump Harbaugh per se. I don't, whereas 5 years ago, it'd been like, all right, see you, thank you. Now it's like, well, is he really cheating? Was it really, they're trying to find every reason for it not to be him. So
bad.
Right. How much different is it than, back in the
Don't
day?
Do it again.
Right. Yeah. You naughty boy, so. And Harbaugh's a Michigan man. Let's not forget that. That's not a small thing for Michigan. That means something to the Michigan contingent. If you don't know much about Michigan culture, being a Michigan man or Michiganer or however they say it, being part of that University of Michigan, it means something.
Yeah, remember
it really does.
Bo Schembechler fired who was the guy that he took the job? It was the basketball dude then.
Right, he's like not a Michigan man, right?
Yeah, he's not a Michigan man. He brought the Fab Five. He's like, he's not a Michigan man. No non-Michigan man leading the Michigan team. And I get it. Right. I mean, they're very entrenched in that culture and who they are. So, yeah. Maybe. I hope. My dream of dreams, yes, get Harbaugh, because one, first of all, he's a former head coach.
Right.
Two, he's a successful former head coach. Super Bowl, like I said, a couple plays here, and he's a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Three, he's worked with a quarterback with Justin's skill set and enhanced them. Can you imagine if he enhances Justin's skill set? Holy cow. And this guy, and the thing about it, he knows what he wants because he's been successful at every level. And my only thing is like, not my only thing, but my thing is, okay, it might be a little too much heat in Michigan. His boy JJ McCarthy is gonna, apply for the NFL draft, so he's gone. There's really nobody left at Michigan for him. Okay, now's a good time for him. I'm making up reasons. You know what I'm saying?
You're not making up reasons. Those are legit reasons. You're not making them up at all. Those are legit reasons. And I'll add on to what you're saying about Harbaugh in terms of him coming here, why it makes sense. Again, former quarterback. All right. You're talking about a guy who's a former Bear. Okay. So there's that connectivity there. There's a connection. And he comes from a coaching family. So a winning coaching family, from dad to his brother to him. So it makes a lot of sense on a lot of visceral levels. It's just whether or not Poles likes him. Poles thinks he's the kind of coach that he needs. I don't know what because Poles didn't hire Eberflus per se. He signed off on it, but we don't know his process. He being Poles, we don't know his process when it comes to, searching for what a head coach would be and what he's looking for. I mean, hey, stuff's happening over in Washington. New ownership, they're not winning. They've made some moves. Rivera may or may not be there. And if he's not there, his staff may or may not be there. Eric Bieniemy, offensively, I'm looking at what Sam Howell's doing. And for a guy who hasn't played 10 NFL games yet, or just at 10 NFL games, he don't look bad. They've been going toe-to-toe with Philly both times. They win both those games, going toe-to-toe. They're putting up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not winning, but that's not all on the quarterback. The defense has kind of let them down, to be quite honest, in some form or fashion. So, maybe Eric Bieniemy becomes available, and he can't be any worse than any other coach who, when I say any worse, I mean in terms of his resume. It's not any worse than any other coach's resume when they get a chance to be a head coach. It's probably better than most.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the other options are out there, but you said Harbaugh, the enemy comes to mind of me. If you keep Eberflus, then the question becomes who's an OC? Greg Roman.
Who's a DC?
The DC can still be Eberflus, but it's a lot easier. It seems weirdly enough to say that it's a lot easier to find DCs than it seems to be to find offensive coordinators, and because offensive coordinators tend to leave quicker than defensive coordinators do to become head coaches. They have one good season, all of a sudden they're off interviewing and they got a job at some other team. It's like, well, what the hell? Were you even really calling plays where you're at? Doesn't matter. You still get a head coaching job. Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell. I mean, the guy in Miami, he was up in the booth developing the running part of the attack, and he's been, Mike's been doing a really good job with Miami, So, but again, he's the head coach, so that means Eberflus is going. So that's what I'm saying. If Eberflus stays, and you have to get offensive coordinator, what does that look like? Do you have to get someone who's not going to leave? Is it an older coach? Is it someone like maybe Bobby Petrino, who's over in Texas A&M now, who's been a head coach in the NFL, who's been a head coach in college? He's old enough that he may not have that same aspiration to want to be a head coach. Maybe fine being offensive coordinator. And who did Bobby Petrino tutor when he was at Louisville as head coach? Who's his protege? Who's his quarterback? Heisman winning Lamar Jackson. So if anybody knows how to develop a quarterback, and people think Lamar just ran in college. He didn't. You go back and look. He was passing.
Yeah.
He was passing.
Yep.
He was passing from the pocket. He passed from the pocket more in college than he did in the pros.
Yes, he did
initially.
Yep.
So and Petrino had like an NFL type kind of system, and he was able to work it around him. And my point is, Petrino's the kind of guy that can. I want an OC who isn't so staunch in his system, but knows how to coach and utilize the talent he has. That's what you need. And I don't see that with Getsy because he's not taking advantage of the running attack like he should be. We talk about all this speed we have. And I'm about to go off another effing tangent because it pisses me off. We have all this damn speed. We have all this speed, and I don't see anybody running the goddamn slants. Can you run a fucking slant? Can we run a slant more than once? Can we run 10 slants in a game? Hell, with the speed we have, we should be running 10 slants each half. How do you not do that with the speed? People in the slot. You shouldn't have to worry about getting off press coverage when you're in the slot. You don't put people in motion enough to get them when they're in motion. And I'm not talking about that bullshit run behind the quarterback motions crap. Okay, whatever. That looks all nice and cool. But even classic motion, when you run in the slot, you get and just moving pieces around. He's starting to finally utilize Kmet a bit more. Great. You lose when you utilize commit. How come you forgetting everybody else in the same game? It doesn't make sense.
Where are these
Modi,
crossing routes? Where are these crossing
where are
routes?
these?
Getting these fast
Yes,
guys open. Where are they at?
yes. Where are these meshing routes? And I know teams are probably playing a lot more zone on the Bears because they're going to make, especially when Justin's there, they're going to make him have to read. But that's where you being the coordinator comes in and find ways to be able to take advantage of that. You have, if I know that sitting here talking to you, you got to damn well be knowing that when you're looking at what teams are doing to you and how they've been playing you. And it's just like with that Raiders game. What the hell was that offensive game plan? That was some bullshit. That was some bullshit. It's like you went away, you didn't stack on what you did with Denver and Washington the 2 weeks prior to. You come in, hell, you had 10 days because the Washington game was a Thursday game. You came in with that bullshit, and then you're gonna make it look like, well, the quarterback's not getting rid of the ball. Like, dude, you starting out with an empty back set, and you're surprised that the quarterback gets sacked. So you know you have a quarterback who may have a tendency to hold on to the ball, and you have to work on that, and that's part of your development too. But you know this, so why put him in a situation where he has to hesitate or think when you know they're coming after him? What I don't understand. And Bajent, I know he gets rid of the ball a little bit more quickly and a little bit more decisively, and that's great. But when you take away his first read, sometimes he's holding on to the ball a little bit too.
Yep. And they did it very simply. They just dropped guys in the flat because he always hits the check down. So it was like, oh, Sam, I can't go there. Now he's
right.
stuck. Now he's stuck.
So what but he's stuck. But what do we start seeing him do? Run, just like Justin. Oh, I got to get out of here. Got to go. So I go back to the OC. I'm so pissed at this because it seems like when you listen to the national media, sometimes they're giving him a pass. Oh man, what a great play design! The pass to Kmet, where Kmet made a hell of a catch in the end zone for a touch. I mean, hey, nice 50-50 ball, Bajent. I'm not pissed at that. That's what you do. You got size. Kmet had size over that guy. Kmet made a good catch. That's what you do. It's what you're paying him for. Great. I don't want to hear how great the play design was. When I use that same damn play on Madden, I'm like, dude, I use that play on Madden. It's not some great design. I literally use that play on Madden. It's like in the last 3 iterations of Madden, I've had that play very similarly. Like, it's tight end goes underneath, and he should be open.
Well, that's phenomenal. It's ingenuity when you use a 6'5" guy over a 5'10" dude. That's ingenuity.
That is coaching, baby. That is coaching.
So by guy Kmet as well at the end, like, you're a little short. Get out of here. I love it. Yeah.
So, and I'm not saying that Getsy doesn't have his moments. At the very least, you should. You're a professional, coach at NFL level. But dude, you don't stack on your wins and you depart from it. And then there's no rhyme or reason. And then we find ourselves like sometimes he'll call a reverse. Like, why are you calling a reverse? You're pounding them. You don't need to do a trick run play right here, bro. You're pounding them. You don't need to have an explosive, possibly explosive play by your diminutive, wide receiver coming around when you're getting 6-7 yards at a gash when you're running the ball. And you're lathering up your running backs, then you go away from them and they have to, settle back down. Play off of that running and have a big play downfield throwing the ball. It's not rocket science. And when they do that, when he does that for a game, you see what happened with Washington. And that the Denver game was partly them going away from it and then Justin, falling apart towards the end with the turnovers, finding himself in situations that he didn't handle as well as he could have. But they wouldn't have been in that situation if you just kept doing what you were doing, running the ball, play action. You were dominating them. So I don't get it, man. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it at all. It pisses me off. I want a new OC.
We need a new OC. And guys, we're joined by Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago, draft analyst over there. We're talking Bears football here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. Let's talk defense. The Bears are the 3rd ranked running defense in the National Football League from 32nd, 31st last year. But people don't want to talk about that. They're doing one hell of a job, which is exactly why they extended Billings. I think that was a phenomenal move, jumping the gun, getting him before his value goes through the roof. He's here for another 2 years after this year. I liked what Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens are doing. They're developing. I love it. And I think if they move Walker inside to the 3 technique, you got a little smaller, but a little more athletic 3 tech who's really going to give people problems. Talk to me about this defense, and in particular this run defense that has jumped. Like, this is like unheard of from literally the bottom. We started at the bottom, now we're here. Now we're number 3 in one season.
Well, I'm going to thump my chest a little bit and go back to before the season began again, and we were talking about this stuff, where I said, look, we don't have the edge rushers. We don't. But we're building from inside out. And with the guys we have in the middle, we should be a lot better stopping the run, because that was a big problem last year. We were a donut hole. And then with the linebackers we got, I said, these guys are good tacklers. These guys are good in space. So that'll help you, underneath and at the flats a little bit. So you should be less susceptible. And with the speed we got, you try to run laterally on us, it's probably not going to happen. We're going to be able to get there, because not only we support it with the linebackers, but we have cornerbacks. We have defensive backs who like to tackle, from Gordon to Terrell Smith to my boy Stevenson to my boy Brisker. Eddie will get in the way, but at least he runs there. He may tackle you by your ankles, but these guys all support the run and they flow to the ball. And Eberflus's system, this system we've seen, very similar to what we saw with Tampa Bay, very system we saw when the Bears were here. This Tampa 2, this cover 2 type kind of defense. It's built to stop that. It's built to make you one-dimensional. It's built to force you to have to matriculate the ball down the field, so that at some point in time, you're going to make a mistake and we're going to pounce on that. It's forced to make you have to pass the ball into areas where either the ball can be tipped or pressure and you throw off time, and there's someone there to get a pick or get a deflection. And the problem we had, the reason why we didn't see it at the beginning of the year is because, again, new pieces, they all have to learn how to play together. But then we had injuries. The other thing I said was we're not very deep. The only areas we were really deep at were in the secondary and the running backs, and those got tested very early. We got to our 3rd and 4th guys, but they still were playing, just they weren't at the level yet, and things still hadn't developed. But because those other guys got playing time, and because the defense finally started to get healthy, and we started to see in the secondary is getting healthy, man, Gordon flying all over the place, man, making tackles. We're starting to see that run support. We're starting to see these guys play, and the defense usually always comes together a lot more quickly than offense. Right. But this defense, we're starting to see these players play. And there are times, Sanborn, man. I mean, hey, man, my guy was making a lot of tackles.
Love
big
the
fan.
jackhammer, dude.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, we've got players on defense. We do. Now, are we a top 5 defense totally? Not yet. But this is where Eberflus, and I'm going a little bit tangential.
Word.
Right. Yeah. And this is where Eberflus about a month ago or 3-4 weeks ago, when he was saying it's coming. People are like, "Are you out of your effing mind?" This is what he's talking. He's like, "No, it's coming." Like he sees it. He's like, "No, it's coming." Now we still need better, like you said, better penetration from the 3 technique. We still need edge rushers, but we're a lot closer than we are further away. So it's coming. So I like what the defense is doing. I'm not surprised that they're top 5 stopping the run. I figured by the end of the year they would easily be top 10 in run defense. I think that I thought that was very attainable. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, overall defensively, we're top 12. I think we'll be in that the lower part of the top half of defenses as it goes around. And I think Eberflus, if nothing else, is a consistent coach, and he makes adjustments throughout the game. They're always the best adjustments, not necessarily, but keep in mind some of the adjustments he had to make had to be very conservative because he didn't have all his pieces. A lot of guys were hurt. So some of the adjustments he's making was like, I don't want to overexpose myself here if I try to do this too much. But he has blitzed more than he probably would like, but he's getting some results from it. So that's becoming part of what we see in the defense. And so that's what a coach does, man. You adjust to it. I got a system. I want players to fit my system, but I adjust to the players that I have. If everybody can't do what I need them to do when I need them to do it until they're able to do it, or we get other people to do it. That's what your coaching should be. And so I feel very good. The defense kept us in the game. We had 5 turnovers.
Yep.
Usually you lose by 3 scores or more.
Should have been at least 40 points on the board.
Yes.
At least you should have given us 40. You're
right.
Talk to me about the Montez Sweat situation. That was it's funny. Bears fans were like, we need Montez Sweat, we need Chase Young, we need Brian Burns. One of those three. We signed Montez Sweat. Oh, why did we sign Montez Sweat? He's gonna want money. He's a free agent. Like, we knew this. Give me your thoughts on the trade, and give me your thoughts on his first game as a Bear.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, I think that because we gave it the second round pick is why people were like, "Oh my God, here we go again," and they just equated with Chase Claypool. Everyone's very much caught in the moment.
PTSD.
Right, PTSD, definitely. Paul's Trey syndrome. But
That's classic. I'm gonna borrow that one.
but no, it made a lot of sense. I thought Poles getting him was somewhat reactionary, not in a bad way, but preventative in a reactionary way to what happened this past draft, where we didn't have enough drafts to get that edge rusher he wanted. And when he wanted to get him, they kind of went off the board. And it's like, man, missed out. Remember we had to trade up just to get Tariq Stevenson. Yeah. So I think he was like, you know what? I think Poles also, he doesn't like the volatility of the draft. I think he likes to have things in place ahead of time. I think he likes to be able to have more control that way, as opposed
at
to
least key pieces. At least key
yes,
pieces. Yeah.
yes. I think he likes to have more control and not have to be caught in the flotsam of the draft and how it may go and be caught in, be like in a hurricane, so to speak. Just okay, you're trying to find some place to anchor. Some people like that. Some people like that sense of chaos or unpredictability. They thrive there. I don't think that poses a strength, and I think he knows that, and that's fine. If you know who you are, great. That's half the battle. G.I. Joe, knowing's half the battle. So he knows that part, and so getting Montez Sweat says, okay, I got an edge rusher. I looked at the draft, and chances are, even with my 2 first-round picks, I'm not going to get that edge rusher possibly, because it's probably going to be maybe quarterback, wide receiver, offensive line, because they're too high for the defense, for the edge rushers that are available. There's no Anderson coming out this year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So most of these first round edge rushers are probably going to start going around somewhere around 7, 8, 9 throughout, and they may not be there in the second round. And by the time I get around to drafting, for my 35th pick, 36th pick, whatever that second round pick might have been, I may not have that talent at edge rusher that I would want that's going to be that impactful day one. But I get me a veteran I know is better than anybody I may get in the second round, and I know he's impactful. I can be impactful. Let me get him, secure him now. I don't have to worry about that. I'll use my first round draft pick of one of the two, and when I trade back down, I may be able to recoup. We talked about it earlier.
Right.
A second round pick somewhere between 40 and 60, or even later round picks. I can get another edge rusher that can, grow, and Montez can mentor him, and I can get that kind of going together. There'll still be some edge rushers around, but I don't have to worry about getting that impact edge rusher right away. I'll have that in Montez Sweat. So that's what I think his whole thought process was. There's enough money that he could sign him. If Montez was being reasonable, by his standards and his being Poles' standards, or at the very worst, he could franchise him and see what happens there. But again, they signed him, and here we are. So I think overall, it'll work going forward. It's a move towards not today, but going forward. As far as how Montez has been playing so far, look, man, he showed that he displayed the athleticism. He caught dude from behind, So I was like, okay. My brother likes to hustle. Some of that could just be, hey, new team, I want to make an impression. I don't want these guys thinking I'm dogging it. But I think he's a professional. I think Montez has shown to be consistent like that. And like I always say, in NFL, the keys to success are consistency and continuity. And I think we're trying to develop some continuity here. And with that, hopefully the consistency will follow.
With that, his play, how impactful do you think he's going to be? Because this could have a big impact on Yannick Ngakoue. Yannick Ngakoue has been pretty invisible most of the year. Was it 1 for 10 we signed him for?
Yeah.
But now he can't be double teamed, because if you double team him, man, Montez Sweat is definitely going to, because he had 4 pressures. He had the hit on the quarterback's arm, which
right.
was really nice. Caught Taysom Hill from behind on a QB run. How impactful do you think is going to be as a multiplier? How impactful is he going to be with the other edge rushers, with Yannick Ngakoue, with other people, maybe even people on his side? Because if you don't double team him, if you don't, you leave him on an island, or if you do, you have to move a guard over and have the center take the 3-tech, or what do you know what I mean? How impactful do you think he's going to be for the rest of these guys, especially Walker and Ngakoue?
I'll say a couple of things. One, I don't know, because Montez came from a team where there were other really dudes all around him. So he wasn't facing a lot of double teams. So how is he going to react to being double teamed more so than not? That's something that he has to experience. I don't know, he has experience. So that's an adjustment that he's going to have to learn. Kind of like when you're a number 2 receiver on a team and then you go somewhere you're the number 1, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I will say this, I don't think what you're asking for is really going to happen this year. Definitely, I don't think it'll happen this month. If it happens, if it shows, it'll be maybe the last quarter of the games that we're playing. You may see it show up against Green Bay when we beat Green Bay in Green Bay. And again, I said that. So we weren't going to win the first game, but we will win the second game in Green Bay. We will win that. I think it's more so for next year we'll see it, because you still have to have those guys on the interior to help you. Because it's a lot easier to defend one guy or even the boundaries, because quarterbacks can step up into the pocket. You know, guys can ride you out. You know, I think what will help him maybe this year will show is that with our secondary being a lot more healthy going forward, we're going to see maybe more coverage sacks. Then we'll see maybe these guys getting to them on their own right away. But I think going into next year, you'll see a much more synergistic defense between the front 4, the linebackers, which I'm really impressed with. They've done a really good job. And then that secondary, which we've all said that's probably might have been the best unit even coming into the season, growing and getting better. And yeah, you may have to replace Eddie eventually at some point. You're going to need another linebacker to get some depth, you know, and I'm really starting to see that. And these guys here's the thing, these guys will have a year longer, this group of guys, this contingent of Bear defensive players, a year longer in Eberflus's system.
Right.
As opposed to the Getsy system, which is some bullshit and things keep not getting better. I think with Eberflus's system, you will see these players get better and start playing similarly to what we saw in terms of effectiveness from the Bears when they went to their last Super Bowl under Lovey, and to a lesser degree, kind of like what we saw maybe with Tampa Bay in their earlier days before they really became that dominant defense. I'm not saying they'll ever get to be there, but they could be. But somewhere between that Bears and that Tampa Bay, if we can be somewhere in the middle of that, I think that's a very good defense with a better offensive coordinator who can take advantage of the talents that we have here.
You know, I'm liking the way Poles is going about it, and I'm really, when people criticize him, I'm like, you don't know football, you're an idiot, because you know, people sign Billings and like, why are you signing him? We have other needs to sign, blah 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 blah, and Billings is collapsing the pocket. You know, he's collapsing. He's been collapsing the pocket. We just had no edge pressure before, right? And the thing that you mentioned was, you know, quarterbacks can step up now. Yeah, it's not so easy anymore. All right, now you do have I said Chase, Montez Sweat, and you know, coming around that corner, and you can't really step up. You got Billings there, right? Maybe you go to the left or the other side, the quarterback's left, but that's what I was saying. How in Ngakoue, I think, and then. I love that fact. And I know Edmonds was hurt. You mentioned it. Jack Sanborn is a monster, dude. His lack of speed forced him to be able to force him to study, become unbelievably and knowledgeable about plays and keys. And dude,
he's decisive.
Dude, yeah, he's really this. I mean, you talk about he's coming in. I remember I saw one play was to the defense's left. He saw the play go, the tackle hadn't taken a step yet, and he was a half step late, and he gave him a little dipped that shoulder. He dipped that shoulder, got up, tackled for TFL. I'm like, dude, this dude is awesome. I love our see I can't even wait to see Noah Sewell get some time in there. But no, he has a lack of straightaway speed. Yeah, but he's very quick and he's very decisive. And I think that is. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I apologize for breaking in. I was going to say, if you play your angles, if you understand angles and you play to those angles, you can mitigate your lack of speed. You know, you can find ways to supplement something for not having the speed. You cut down on the angle. Just like when you're tracking down a guy who's 4.3 running down the sidelines, and you say, oh, the quarterback's got the angle on him. Yeah, I'm not going to catch him straight away, but I got the angle. I can cut down on the space in the distance. You know, by using angles, and that's what Sanborn does, as you alluded to, because he is so astute in his be able to break down where the defense is going, but also he's decisive and he has those good instincts. And a lot of the Wisconsin linebackers, and we have 2 of them on our team.
Yeah,
they're very good. They're very aware, just like wide receivers from LSU and Ohio State. They know how to run. They know how to run routes. They know how to get open. I mean, Smith and Jibba's not a speedy guy, but he seems like he can get open all the time. Malik Neighbors isn't always blown by people at LSU now, but that dude seems to always be open. There's so many receivers from some of the schools. You're like, oh, he played like Ohio State. Oh, okay, well that explains it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
And let's not
I think
forget, Glenn. Let's not forget. You talked about Wisconsin linebackers. So you got Sanborn. Remember, he led the team in tackles once he started last year. He's making plays this year, and another guy from Wisconsin is second or third in the NFL in tackles.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said we have two of them.
There's no. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence at all. And you know what? I know Roquan said something yesterday. He's happy his career is not going on the drain, and that's cool. All right, and I liked him, but the fact is that you got two linebackers for the price of one, and one of those linebackers that you got is second or third in the NFL in tackles, ahead of Roquan right now. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Good. I think it's a good job by Poles. Last question before we let you go, because we got to get out. Oh, actually, do have a little time because we started later. But last question anyway. Jalen Johnson, what do you do with him? Now you signed, you signed Montez Sweat, you tag him, you go back, and the rumor had it that he was, not going to want to negotiate during the rest of the season. What do you try to do? Because now you have all the leverage as the organization. Because you know what, you don't want to play, tag you're it, and you can do that for 3 years. It's usually never done for the third year, but you can tag him for 3 years.
Right. I think Poles is patient enough and understands that it can be very emotional for players. And I think he's like, okay, you're free to talk to whoever, so you can get an idea of what you think, what you think you're worth and what the market says you're worth, and then we'll talk later on. So I hope they don't have to tag him. They don't necessarily have to. I mean, it could happen, but I think that they may be able to figure something out, because you've seen Jalen's kind of back down a little bit recently.
Yeah, he has.
And I don't mean, when I say back down in Jalen, if you're contingent or listening to me, I don't mean that from a sense of weakness. I think it's more so like your emotions aren't at the top zenith of what you're saying now. It's a little bit less emotional response, and you're starting to kind of see it. And there's certain realizations there, but it's almost like, okay, well, all right, let's talk about this after the season's over. And that's what's going to happen. And that's fine. The Bears have enough money. They have enough money. And again, if they choose to go in a different direction with their quarterback, they'll have even more money going forward. So even if they say, hey, Jalen, we're going to tag you this year, but we'll have the money for you next year. Okay. Because when you get tagged, you get in top money. It's not, it's just 1 year. You don't have the security of a longer thing. But hey,
guaranteed. You could walk out after you sign it, tear your knee up, and you still get all 18.
Right. So it's like, the franchise tag, it's a tool, and it's something that can be utilized to the benefit of the organization usually. But I don't think, what's my guy, Kirk Cousins? I don't think he's too upset about how he got paid, when he was at Washington.
With everything. Yeah. And then it's true. That's right.
So it's sometimes, and I get it, it's an emotional thing, but I think Jalen, better, I won't say better angels, but I think the pragmatism of the situation is starting to balance out the emotional responses that we were listening to earlier on, last weeks prior to now.
Yeah, I had not a run-in with him, but on the last game I asked, I was like, hey, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? And he was like, I'm getting dressed. And I felt like saying, no shit, Al, so I can see you getting dressed. I mean, you're in a locker room. I understand what you shower to get dressed after the game. I get it. Like he was about to put his shirt on. And I was like, all right, man, cool. And I just walked away, and then a big crowd came over after, and but I was like, dude, don't be so sensitive. Like, and I didn't come at him wrong. I'm like, hey, Jalen, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? I'm getting dressed. Like, listen, like, don't be so sensitive. Like, come on, dude. Like, all right, man.
Well, you probably didn't have enough cameras behind you for him to think that he should say something.
I just had my iPhone on a selfie stick. He's like, nah, that's not enough that's not a big enough camera.
Sometimes it's like that. I mean, it's like that sometimes. It's like, are you national media? Are you local? Or are you local?
So that's your camera? Okay, never mind. Yeah. Hey, Glenn, great stuff, Papa. I appreciate it. Do me a favor, though. Let everyone know where they can find you and your work online and on TV.
Oh, no doubt, man. You can catch me. Hey, as a matter of fact, tomorrow I'll be on Football Night in Chicago. It's a digital version, but I'll be on there right before the Bears game. So check me out there. A lot less expletives on that show than today. But also you can catch and listen to me and my partners on anywhere you catch your podcast. That's Easy Smoking GM Podcast. Also NBC Sports Chicago, our digital platform there. I've been a little under the weather lately, but I'm back, getting back healthy. But there you can catch my mock drafts, weekly mock drafts, and also player profiles on the players that you, as Bears fans, should be expecting to see this team acquire going forward.
Okay. I'm hoping. Here's my, as a Bear fan, I'm hoping the Bears don't get the number 1 overall pick. I want it and I don't want it. All right. I do want it because I don't want them to. I agree with you. Go get a haul. All right. I've seen there's something. Let me ask you this. Let me finish my first thought. There's something about Caleb Williams that doesn't sit well with me. Okay.
Same here, bro.
There's something about it. And it sucks because, like, my buddy from one of my running back buddies in college was his high school coach. And, you know, sent me a picture of him from New York last. It was cool. Nice picture I got of him and Caleb with the Heisman. Your stance on what he did in the game. After the game, when he ran up and
emotional
with his mom, your thoughts on that? I won't tell you my thoughts, and I don't want to cloud you. But what your thoughts on him celebrating or crying with his mom?
I don't know what's going on in his life. That could be something family. That could be something that was very emotional. Maybe someone in their family's dealing with something and that we don't know about. And so that game was maybe hey, I was playing this game for grandpa or auntie or uncle, and it didn't turn out. And I feel like I let them down. And it could be that. It could be something else. Anybody that's having a personal moment that we just happen to catch, I don't feel it's my place to really opine too much on, because there's so much I just don't know, and it's not fair to them, and I do a disservice to them, and I think I do a disservice to my own credibility if I'm overly confident. Sure, I might think it could be, like I just said, it could be this, it could be that, I don't know, but to speculate definitively, like, it's telling me something, I don't know. But that being said, with Caleb, I'm with you. There are things in his game. I'm not talking about him as a person because I don't know enough about him. But the things in his game where I'm like, dude, how are you any different than Justin at this point? You hold on to the ball forever. You try to do the hero thing all the time. I realize your offensive line is not helping you. I realize your defense isn't helping you. I realize there's a lot on your plate. I also realize that that's just who you are too. You throw off platform more than you need to when you don't have to. You throw off your back heels a lot. You throw from different arm angles off your back heels, and the ball sails on you. And when you're playing good teams, or good defense, i.e. Notre Dame, you can get exposed. So how is that any different than the quarterback we have right now? so I'm like, I don't know. Drake May, I don't know. Are you Justin Herbert, or are you a faux Justin Herbert? I don't know. There are a lot of questions. So yeah, I get what you're saying. That first pick, it's like a bane and a boon. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's what do we make of it? It's just like, it
was my take, Glenn. And I'm glad you gave me that perspective, because you're right. It could have been for somebody, because I was annoyed as all get out. I was mad as hell. I'm like, because of the fact that if you're upset because you lost the Heisman for sure, the chance of the national championship, the playoffs, okay, cool.
Could be those things too.
But it could be. But then you do that with your team, because you celebrate with your team. You let your team celebrate you when you win. And if you're the leader of this team, you don't leave the team and go celebrate or cry or do something with somebody else. Celebrating or be upset with somebody else. These are the teammates. These are your teammates. These are the guys that you've been working with for a couple of years now since you transferred in. All right. I felt as a leader, you should be with them, because what about all right, they're not winning the Heisman. They're not doing. These are the guys that look up to you because you're the leader. I think you should be there for them. They've been there supporting you. You need to be there for them as a leader. And that's the thing that got me. Not his passion. I have no problem with you crying after a football game. None. No problem at all. Football is an emotional sport, and I love that fact that he cares about it so much. It was just
right.
the optics, and as a teammate, I'd be like, man,
it seems selfish to you.
Yeah, it does seem selfish to me, And it could be, you're right, it could have been for somebody, who's passed I'm like, no, you celebrate with us. Then you console. You're here when things aren't going so well for us. And that was just my take. That's why I didn't want to say anything. I just wanted to hear what you had to say because, I was really bothered by that. And, but just something that I see. It just it doesn't sit well with me. And I wanted to because I like the guy. My buddy is his head coach. So, but hey, we got to run, Glenn. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Again, we will talk soon, buddy.
Thank you, and apologize for the technical stuff early on,
Don't worry
man.
about it. Happens. It happens. All right, dog. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Peace
All right.
out.
All right. Guys, that was Glenn Morgan from NBC Sports Chicago. Guys, we got to run. Listen, it's a beautiful day in Chicago. We're going to replay this show today at 6 o'clock tonight, 6 to 8. So make sure if you missed it or you want to check it out again, it'll be on tonight. So we got to run. Have a great day. It's beautiful here in Chicago. But we got to go. We got to go. All right. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. I'll see you on Friday. I'm out.